Emotional eating is a pattern of eating where people use food to help them deal with stressful situations. Many people experience emotional eating at one time or another. It could show itself as eating a bag of chips when bored or eating a chocolate bar after a difficult day at work. However, when emotional eating happens frequently or becomes the main way a person deals with their emotions, then their life, health, happiness, and weight can be negatively affected. Emotions such as stress are not the only triggers for emotional eating. Other common triggers that people report include boredom. Being bored or having nothing to do is a common emotional eating trigger. Many people live very stimulating and active lives, and when they have nothing to do will turn to food to fill that vacuum. Habits. These are often driven by nostalgia or things that happen in a person's childhood. An example might be having ice cream after a good report card or baking cookies with a grandparents. Fatigue. It is easier to overeat or eat mindlessly when fatigued, especially when tired of doing an unpleasant task. Food can seem like the answer to waiting to do a particular activity anymore. Social influences. Everyone has that friend who encourages them to get a pizza after a night out, go out for dinner or drink after a difficult day or as a reward for a good day. It can be easy to overeat when with friends or family. The first step a person needs to take to rid themselves of emotional eating is to recognize the triggers and situations that apply in their life. Keeping a food diary or journal can help to identify situations when someone is more likely to eat because of emotional instead of physical hunger. Tracking their behavior is another way someone can gain insight into their eating habits. The behavior they record can include patterns of hunger level, maybe on a 1 to 10 scale, what they are doing and if it is tedious and unpleasant, what they are feeling, whether bored or angry. Next, they may want to brainstorm ideas for a way to counteract the triggers they identify. For example, someone who eats when bored may want to find a new book that sounds exciting to start reading or start a new hobby that could provide a challenge. Someone who eats because of stress could try yoga, meditation, or taking a walk to help themselves cope with their emotions. Someone who eats when they are depressed may want to call a friend, take a dog for a run, or plan an outing to cope with their negative feelings. It can also be helpful to talk to a therapist or psychologist to discuss other ways to break the cycle of emotional eating. A nutritionist or doctor may also be able to provide a referral to an expert or additional information on creating positive eating habits and a better relationship with food. Emotional eating is not simply a matter of a person lacking self-discipline or needing to eat less. Likewise, people who eat to deal with stress do not just lack self-control. The causes are complex and may involve some of the following. For some people, emotional eating is a learned behavior. During childhood, their parents give them treats to help them deal with a tough day or situation, or as a reward for something good. Over time, the child who reaches for a cookie after getting a bad grade on a test may become an adult who grabs a box of cookies after a rough day at work. In an example such as this, the roots of emotional eating are deep, which can make breaking the habits extremely challenging. It is common for people to also struggle with difficult or uncomfortable feelings and emotions. There is an instinct or need to quickly fix or destroy these negative feelings, which can lead to unhealthy behavior. And emotional eating is not only linked to negative emotions. Eating a lot of candy at a fun Halloween party or too much on Thanksgiving are examples of eating because of the holiday occasion itself. There are also some physical reasons why stress and strong emotions can cause a person to overeat. High cholesterol level. Initially, stress causes the appetite to decrease so that the body can deal with the situation. If the stress does not let up, another hormone called cortisol is released. Cortisol increases appetite and can cause someone to overeat. Cravings. High cortisol levels from stress can increase food cravings for sugar or fatty food. Stress is also associated with increased hunger hormones, which may also contribute to cravings for unhealthy food. Sex. Some research shows that women are more likely to use food to deal with stress than men are, while men are more likely than women to smoke or use alcohol. It is very easy to mistake emotional hunger for physical hunger, but there are characteristics that distinguish them. Recognizing these subtle differences is the first step toward helping to stop emotional eating patterns. Emotional hunger tends to hit quickly and suddenly and feels urgent. Physical hunger is usually not as urgent or sudden unless it is been a while since a person ate. Emotional hunger is usually associated with craving for junk food or something unhealthy. Someone who is physically hungry will often eat anything, while someone who is emotionally hungry will want something specific such as fries or a pizza. Mindless eating is when someone eats without paying attention to or enjoying what they are consuming. An example is eating an entire container of ice cream while watching television. Having not intended to eat that much, this behavior usually happens with emotional eating, not eating through hunger. Emotional hunger does not originate from the stomach, such as with a rumbling or growling stomach. Emotional hunger tends to start when a person thinks about a craving or wants something specific to eat. Giving into a craving or eating because of stress can cause feelings of regret, shame, or guilt. These responses tend to be associated with emotional hunger. On the other hand, satisfying a physical hunger is giving the body the nutrients or calories it needs to function and is not associated with negative feelings.